Hey everybody, welcome to Biolapse Motion Control Series. My name is Chris, and today we are going to be focusing on, well, focus. So with macro photography, you see those pictures of the insects and bugs and all these really small things, and everything's beautifully in focus and beautifully sharp, but that's just not how it is when you start. The problem is that when you're filming something that small or shooting something that small, the depth of field, which is the area that is in focus, is so razor thin that you pretty much have to shoot a whole bunch of images in a row, slightly shifting that focus point through. And then you feed all that software or those photos into some software, which creates the stack and creates the final resulting image. So doing this is not terribly difficult to get the focus stack, and today I'm going to focus on using a Kessler Crane Second Shooter Pro. And what I have here is I have the Second Shooter pan and tilt, and then I've got a CineDrive focus ring, and we have a Second Shooter Plus controller. Really, any motion control system worth its salt is going to be able to accomplish this task in this configuration. All you really need is the ability to do 2 keyframes and move a focus motor. Now, of course, there's some people that are into macro photography that their eye is already twitching and they're mad because I'm talking about shifting the focus rather than moving the entire camera. These are 2 different thought processes on how to do it, and depending on your equipment, depends on which direction you want to go. In this case, this is a Laowa 24mm probe lens, and it has virtually no focus breathing. And focus breathing is what happens when you are shifting your focus on your lens and you see the perspective of the image, that the field of view actually changes. So this one has almost no focus breathing, so you can actually just change the focus, and it's way easier than moving the camera. And also, I don't know if Kessler is going to be the best way to do it if you have to move your camera, because they don't really offer a small micro slider, and they don't really, it doesn't play well with off-the-shelf equipment. You have to use their system and their stuff in order to get things to work. So what I recommend in this case is just make sure you have a lens that's like, a cinema lens or something like that's where you can do it. Alternatively, if you're using a high enough resolution sensor, like I'd say 24 megapixels, it doesn't really matter if the field of view changes a little bit. The focus software will compensate for that, crop out all the excess stuff, and you'll be left with a slightly lower resolution image, but it's still going to be more than enough. So we're going to go ahead and get this set up and go ahead and get everything configured, and then we are going to do 150 frames on a movement that takes the focus and moves it maybe about a quarter of an inch. So this will be fun. Let's get started. So I got everything set up, so just going to go in order. Starting out first, I got a decent tripod here. It's nothing really too fantastic, but it does what's needed. Here is the pan tilt for the Kessler second shooter. And then on top of that, I've got a little macro rail. I can use that to slide the camera in and out when I'm positioning. And then on top, we have the camera. This is just an inexpensive Canon DSLR. It doesn't need to be anything too fancy. This is a pretty simple setup, or a pretty simple camera. It doesn't have a lot of features. It's pretty low end, but what it does have is a really good 24 megapixel sensor. From there, we've got the Laowa lens. On the lens, we've got the Kessler CineDrive focus ring. Then moving down, we have a light. This is just it's a lume cube. And then the most importantly, we have the star of our show, which it's going to be really hard to see that. But there's a little fly down on the end of that. And that's what we're going to be filming today. So now that we have everything set up, we're going to go ahead and set up this move. So like I said, this is really easy and this is not going to take long. So what I have on here is I have the fly planted on the flower, trying to make an interesting subject. And unfortunately, there's nothing really alive right now. So one trick you can do is if you can find dead bugs, you can always soak them in a paper towel for a little bit, and they get a little bit pliable, and you can kind of put them in the position that you want them. So we're going to go ahead and set this up. So the first thing to do is you're going to make sure that you're on manual move, and then you can select 2 keyframe. And then you're going to go ahead and select the first. Now the first one, I'm going to go ahead and bring the focus all the way out, and it's already there. You can see on the monitor. So I'm going to go ahead and use this as the first keyframe. Now the second keyframe, all I'm going to do is I'm going to move the focus out. And in this case, it's on the third port, which labeled as slider. And I'm going to watch in the screen, and I'm going to make sure that the focus goes all the way through to the back. Okay, that looks about good. I want to go all the way through, capture the entire fly. All right, now that that's done, I'm going to hit enter. So that's really it for programming it. Not kidding. You want to go to time lapse, move, shoot, move, and you're going to do, for this, I'm going to do 150 photos. I'm going to do a 3-second exposure, 5-second delay, so a total of 8 seconds between each image. 150, that gets us into 19 minutes and 55 seconds. And then I'm going to go to advanced features. I want to make sure, because when I'm doing this kind of work, since I'm out in my workshop, any kind of vibrations are going to mess this up. And this is a wood floor out here. So what I'm going to do is make sure that it's set for 5 minutes, okay, for a delay start. And I'm going to go down and hit done. And we're going to see that it's going to move back. The focus, you can see it moving back up now towards the front. Oh, and it's not moving yet. All right. So it moved back up towards the front. And I'm going to pause it real quick. I do have 5 minutes to get out of here, but I just wanted to make sure everything is set up. And it looks good. So we're going to go ahead and hit resume. And now in 5 minutes, it's going to go ahead and rack up all the images. And I don't have to do anything else. I just had to get to come out here and claim it when I'm done. So that's it. Okay, and here we are. It ran. It did its job. I got 150 wonderful images that I can now apply into a stacking program in order to get the full stack. I'm not covering that in this video like I mentioned earlier because I feel it's best to dedicate time in other videos towards these little topics like that. So one of the programs that I've been using the most when I'm doing my focus stacking or if I'm doing focus stack time lapse is Helicon. It works really good. I've tried to spend as much time with it as I can to get really good at it. It has a lot of options and a lot of capability and a lot of ways to kind of clean up the image and take care of unwanted artifacts and stuff that you might get, which you're going to run into a lot. Another program that was recommended to me is called Zerine. I don't really know anything about it other than they have a full-featured 30-day trial, which I'm going to definitely take advantage of. And I'm going to try to learn it and see if I can put some tutorials together for both Helicon and Zerine and put them up. And I'll definitely have at least one of those tutorials done by the time I put this video up. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you, if you're interested in seeing more of this stuff, I'm going to be putting out more macro videos on how to use bellows, how to use reverse rings, reverse couplers. I'm going to go over the differences between moving the camera versus moving the focus ring and really just kind of do some diving into this and really explore macro and see how far we can go. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you like this kind of content and footage, be sure to give me a like and a subscribe on the YouTube channel. And that way you're notified when there's new content coming out. And if you want to leave a comment or if you have a question or anything like that, you can feel reach out to me either through the comment section or you can email me at chris@biolapse.com. I realize there might be some things that I get wrong or maybe I misspeak on something. And if you want to call me out on it, go ahead. If I'm wrong on something, I'll issue a correction. I don't really care. I'm not the kind of person that takes any of this stuff too seriously. I know there are a lot of people that will sit there and argue and get mad at each other saying that that's not a true macro photo because it's not quite one-to-one, whatever. If you're having fun and you're shooting and having fun, that's the important thing. Let's not lose focus. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and I'll see you for the next video.